and welcome to today's Daily Word. Today is Daily Word number 619. So I'm glad you could join me for our time together as we continue our ever-long journey through Scripture and what it means for us, and of course how it continues to apply to us as we live our lives. So thank you for being with me this morning, carving out a little bit of time in your schedule this morning on this beautiful day. And so we continue this ongoing journey and these building blocks of our faith, if you will. And this particular morning, we're going to hear from the book of Ephesians, chapter 1, verses 17 through 18. And we hear these words from the Apostle Paul. I pray that the God of glory may give you a spirit of wisdom and revelation, so that, with the eyes of your heart enlightened, you may know what is the hope to which God has called you. Hope. Hope is that wild creature. Hope is untamable, but hope is holy, within the mysteries of God. But hope, however, is somehow alien to our daily bodily existence. I wake up every morning with the same aches and pains as you probably do. I go to bed tired, sometimes wake up tired. The same set of stresses, the same routines that I have to go through every single day. Some of the same challenges to navigate from moment to moment. That same face staring me back in the mirror that only gets older as we go by. Hope, however, has no care for that sameness. Hope says to us that something else is possible in us. Hope says, we're going to do something new in you. Hope says, this is a day to envision yourself in a new situation. Hope says, that we should interrupt all the stuff that we're burdened down with new thoughts and new dreams and new actions. But if you're like me, we probably try to keep hope tamed down. We limit it to our location. We quell it somehow with our voices. We can sometimes contort it with our theology probably about what hope really means. But hope as Paul describes it, is something different. Now, hope with a plan isn't hope. It's a plan, and that's okay. But it's self-made and self-assumed. Hope, the hope to which God calls us, as Paul describes it, comes from an alien space, comes from a wild space, comes from a holy space. And from that space, hope offers possibilities that we can't devise for ourselves. Sometimes we say that we have hope beyond hope, whatever that means. On Saturday, when I go to officiate my cousin's funeral, I talked to his wife yesterday, and that was such a hard conversation. They haven't been married quite 2 years yet. And I hung up the phone and I had taken a bunch of notes, and I got to thinking about the whole thing and the process, and she said to me, Jim, I don't want you to do a bunch of preaching at us. That's not what he would have wanted. And frankly, that's not my style. She doesn't know me, but that's not my style. But I thought to myself, in the midst of that very tough situation, I want to offer hope. Hope for tomorrow, hope for the next days to come, hope for the future. And I got to thinking about what Paul says, that it's the hope to which God has called us. And that hope is beyond, as I said, having a plan. That hope is beyond trying to have it all figured out. But that kind of hope that I want to offer them, and the kind of hope that we're called to live in, is as I said, hope that comes from an alien space. We don't get it. It's from a wild, holy space that we haven't quite figured out yet. And that kind of hope that I want to speak about to them and with them and even for them offers a possibility that we can't devise ourselves, that only God can do. And I think we all need that in our lives, right? Hope beyond ourselves. Hope that we can't devise, hope that we can't scheme and plan about and draw a picture about and have a 3-year plan about. But the kind of hope that comes from a wild space, an alien space, a holy space. And I think as we live our lives, that's what we need, right? We need that kind of hope. The kind of hope that Paul talks about, that's wild, that's untamable, that's within the mystery of God. But yet it somehow comes to us and strengthens us along our life's journey. I'm burdened down by it. I haven't got it figured out yet. I'm trusting that God's going to somehow guide me in those thoughts and words. I told my therapist this morning when I was in physical therapy, we were talking about it, and she said, "Jim, how hard is that?" I said, "Well, it's going to be really hard, and they don't want me to be preachy, and that's not my plan to be preachy. And I always go into funerals with a story, and then add the scripture to it. So I want to be able to tell a bit of a story that I know, and then offer hope in scripture. And that's how God works in you and me, right? God knows our story. God knows who we are. Wants to enlighten, as the scripture says to us, the eyes of our heart might be enlightened, that we might know. That's what God and how God and why God works through us. And so might we know that in our lives? It's my prayer that you'll know it, and I'll know it, and that what I know I can share with folks who are grieving heavily in my family. So thanks for being with me. Thanks for carving out this time with me, as you always do. Know of God's love that surrounds you. Know of my love for all of you. There will not be a daily word tomorrow. More doctor's appointments with my mom. So join me Sunday morning in worship at 10:15. We are going to share in the sacrament of Holy Communion. And then join me again. And we have fellowship hour. I forgot, we'll go downstairs with lots of goodies right after church. And then again Monday at 10 o'clock. Have a great day and a great weekend.